Well, hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to another week with KB Michelle Green. That's right, that's me. Kingdom Builders Business University. We come on every single week to share with you a awesome Kingdom Builders Business University alumni. And what we do is we share their life story with you. Hopefully, you will be inspired by every single time we have a new guest on our show. Make sure that you are also subscribed to the KB Michelle Green TV channel. Make sure that you are subscribed so that we can share our lives with you and inspire you to become an elite entrepreneur too. All right, so today we are going to bring to the stage our very own Miss Shayla Howell. Hey
Hello,
Shayla,
hello. Hey,
how you doing?
I am well. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. Yes, I was definitely wanting you to come on so that we could get into your life story. I know I had inspiration from God. He told me to call you so that we could get you on the show. So I'm so thankful that you came. Thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. No problem. No problem. Awesome. So let's talk about who are you, Shyla?
Well, my name is Shayla Howell, and I am a woman of God. I am a mother. I'm a sister. I'm a confidant. I'm an encourager, and just a person that likes to see people win, grow, and heal.
Awesome. Awesome. That sounds amazing. So, we want to know a little bit more about you. So, let's get into your story. Tell us where you're from.
Okay, I am originally from Albuquerque, New Mexico. And that's where me and my mother is from. And we moved from there to San Antonio, Texas. And from
Wow.
San Antonio, Texas, we ended up moving here to Columbia, South Carolina, which we've been here over 22 years. So you might as well say this is
Goodness.
home.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. But wait a minute. Albuquerque, New Mexico. I don't think I know anybody from Albuquerque. So, tell us, how was it in Albuquerque, New Mexico? Do you remember anything significant about the state?
Yeah, most people don't know people from Albuquerque, New Mexico. So every time I say that, everybody's like, "What?" They'll say, "Do you speak Spanish or something like that?" I said, "Poquito
Right.
means a little bit." So, um, well, what I really remember, I was small, I was young, but I remember that it used to snow in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And every time I
What?
tell people that, yes, every time I tell people that, they have that same look that you have, and they're like, "You got to be kidding me, it don't snow." I just remember as a
Right.
child, yeah, we didn't have any gloves to put on when we went out in the snow, so we put socks on our hands and we
Oh
went
my
outside
goodness.
and until it got cold, which was very quick, and we went right on back inside.
Wow. Wow. I had never known that it snows in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I thought it was a place that was very hot.
Yes. Now it is hot, but it's that direct sunlight, the direct heat, not that, that sweltering heat that's here in, South Carolina. So it was hot. It could be like 102, 110 there, but it won't feel as bad as here, so and it is desert like and it has a lot of, mountains and things like that, but it is
Mountains.
hot. Mountains, yes, ma'am. Yes.
What? Oh my God,
Yeah.
you are telling me something new about the terrain. Like, I had
Yes.
no idea that the territory in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Did y'all know that out there? Did you know that it was like mountains and what is it? I'm telling you, Albuquerque, New Mexico,
Yeah.
that is like mind blowing to me. Like, I really thought it
Yes.
was just hot all the time, sweltering hot. And you talking about South Carolina being sweltering hot.
Yeah.
Was it hotter in Albuquerque than it was here? Than it is here?
No, to me, to now, somebody might say something different, but to me, it seemed like it's hotter here because it's that humid heat here.
Whoa!
It's
You
humid here,
gotta be kidding me!
Yes.
What
To
the
me,
world?
it's yeah. Yes.
Oh my Lord, that is something. Okay, so you're from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and then
Yes,
you went to San Antonio, Texas with your mom.
yes,
And
yes.
what was that like being in San
Well,
Antonio?
Well, I still was, still young, but I remember the main thing I remember learning how to ride a bike when I was in San Antonio.
Oh,
That's where my mom met my stepfather, and he would teach me how
okay.
to ride a bike and stuff out there. And it was totally different, especially from Albuquerque to San Antonio, Texas. It was more of like a Hispanic type of culture there.
Uh-huh.
So, from there to here is totally different. I mean, a lot of Hispanic friends and everything
Whoa.
like that. So it was totally different from moving from there to here.
Right.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's interesting. So you lived in Albuquerque. You were born, and I can't get over that. Born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and
Yes,
a place where I thought it was going to be hot all the time, and now you're saying that it's cold, and y'all had to put socks on your hands because it was so cold. Then you moved
yeah,
from Albuquerque to San Antonio, Texas, learn how to ride a bike. Your mom
yeah,
met your stepdad, and
yeah.
then you ended up in South Carolina. Now, what led y'all to come to South Carolina?
Okay, so my grandfather lived here and he was sick, so we ended up moving from there to here to take care of him. And then he got better, and then we just ended up
Oh.
living here. We stayed with my grandfather first, and then we found a house here, and then we ended up just staying here, and that's where we stayed. And I
Oh,
came here when I was like in fourth grade. I started fourth grade here.
nice, nice. So you've been
Yeah,
here since fourth grade, so 20
yeah,
plus years. And how
yeah.
has it been for you? Do you like South Carolina?
I do like South Carolina. It's more like to me, it's kind of laid back. Growing up, I was just, in elementary school, I was kind of a loner to myself, just
Mm,
kind of just, like I was saying, like I wanted to be with the crowd, but God didn't want it that way. So I always found myself by myself. And I still today I'm like that too. I mean, I have friends, but I think the Lord was trying to show me how to enjoy my own company too, and to keep,
wow.
not have all the distractions and different things like that I could have had if I was surrounded by a whole bunch of people. Because, as a kid, you want to be in the it crowd, you want to be with the popular crew, but I just would never fit. I just couldn't fit. I was just always different.
Wow, wow,
Mm,
that is something now. Let's talk about that. So
mm,
you're saying that you wanted to be a part of the it crowd, and I think that for so many of us, as we grow up from childhood all the way into adulthood, and probably even in our life right where we are right now, we desire to belong somewhere. We desire to
mhm,
be a part of a family that we really feel like we fit in, and sometimes that's hard to find, especially as an entrepreneur, especially as someone, as you go through school, elementary, middle school, high school. And, it's just like everybody in humanity wants to belong somewhere with
mhm,
someone, with some family, and that's
yeah,
absolutely okay. So I bet that was pretty challenging because I myself, being an only child, grew up as a kind of a loner, even though I came from a big family and people were always around. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are not lonely. So
mhm.
being a loner, what did you learn from that experience as a kid growing up in South Carolina?
Um, I learned that it was okay to be by yourself sometimes. I was able to focus more on what I wanted to focus on, whatever that was at that time. I also learned that it's okay to be different too. you know.
Oh, that's
And
good.
that took a little bit for me to kind of grasp, because like I said, as a kid, you want to fit in, and you kind of I kind of felt um like I didn't know if people liked me,
Yeah.
because I just didn't fit. I just felt like I just didn't fit. It don't matter how many times I tried to force myself into situations, I just did not fit. And I had to learn that that was okay. I was supposed to be separate. I was supposed to be different. I was supposed to be okay with being me.
Yes, 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 yes. So that is such a great principle for us to understand, Shyla, is that when we are set apart, when we are the ones that are actually chosen to be someone great in the world, it usually is a situation where we cannot find our group of people. It's like we can try to go to the club, we can try to hang out at the lounge. We can try to smoke or drink or, do the
Mhm.
crazy things that we grow up learning that people do that are popular because we're trying to fit in to those groups. But in actuality, a lot of those people who are popular would rather be by themselves doing the things that they love. But
Mhm.
sometimes we get into the mode where we are under so much pressure to try to fit in somewhere that we forget who we actually are. And that identity is lost for years and years and years and years. So I would
Yes.
rather be a loner in the beginning so that as I grow into adulthood, I would actually be able to be who I actually am because I wouldn't have that kind of pressure of trying to please the group that I'm with. Instead
Yes.
of me trying to please the people that I'm surrounded by and doing things every day that I really hate or just don't want to do,
Mhm.
I would rather just be by myself, figure out what it is that I like and I don't like, and then
Yeah.
just grow into my own person, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of
Yeah.
how I grew up too. So I think that's a blessing in disguise. If you're
Mhm.
watching and this is how you've been feeling, even in adulthood, even in your childhood, it doesn't matter what stage it is that you're in, feeling like you want to belong to some place or some group or some family doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you're supposed to be. So I want us
Right.
to just take away from this principle that, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be by yourself. And it's
Right.
okay to do what it is that you like. Because I think the world puts too much pressure on fitting in
Mhm.
and doing things that we really don't even like to do. We don't like it, we don't love it, and sometimes we even hate it, but we only do
Right.
it for the sake of belonging. And that is
Mhm.
not the way to go, y'all. That's not the way to
Right.
go. All right. Thank you for sharing that. That's so good, Shyla. So you decided that you weren't gonna just fit in and you started to learn yourself, the things that you like, the things that you don't like. And is that something
Yeah.
that you prefer now?
Um, I would say I have my times and my moments where I need to be by myself. I need to
Hmm.
reconnect back with God. I need to have that peace and quiet. That's my time where I can kind of gather my thoughts, process, what I'm dealing with, or even reflect, because when you have a lot of noise and a lot of things going on around you, that's a distraction, and you
Ah,
don't get to see the things that maybe you need to work on. You don't get to see the things that, you know, um, you could be doing. You know what I mean? Because
yes,
there's so much noise, there's so much things happening around you. And I mean, it's easy because we all are busy. It's easy to get distracted. So I try to make it my business to have some time to myself, whereas it's just me and God, me,
yes,
So
yes. So what was it like going through your high school years, going leading into your 20s? What was your experience like as a person?
So leading into high school, um, so I went to three different high schools. I went to
Whoa,
Keenan
three
High
different high
School.
schools?
Yes, yes. I went to Kenyon High
Come on.
School. I went to Columbia High School, and I graduated from Gilbert High School. And we have our times like anybody else where, I thought I was grown, right, at a certain age, and
Yeah.
trying to find my way in the world and stuff. And so before I graduated, I ended up moving with my dad, which is my biological dad. And he I didn't always have a relationship with him, like I wanted to. And I found myself kind of, trying to be where he was, trying to be in his presence and just be around him and get to know who he is, what makes him laugh, where I come from, because I just kind of felt like I didn't know who I was, and I felt like I knew who my mom was. I had my stepfather, which would always tell me that I was a leader, and which I didn't understand at that time. I had my mom, I had my stepfather, but I wanted my dad. I wanted my biological dad to be in my life, because I think even throughout, getting to that point of graduating, I would choose the wrong relationships because I was trying to search for love and didn't realize that I was like, I really wanted to have that relationship with my dad. So I would try to find these other relationships to get into, not knowing that those things was kind of connected, that I wanted love from my dad, but I was trying to find love in the wrong places in these different relationships. So
Whoa.
yeah,
Okay,
that
so
kind of, hmm
yeah, so you said that your stepfather would
hmm
tell you that you are a leader.
yes. Oh yeah, he used to tell me that all the time because I am the oldest. I'm the oldest on my mother's side and my dad's side. So
Wait,
on my mom, yes,
wait.
yes,
Oh, that's a lot
yes,
of responsibility. How many of us out
yes.
here are the oldest or only child? I know for me, I was the oldest grandchild of the family. So oldest granddaughter, not grandchild. But the fact
Mhm,
is that I was the only one in the area. So it was like I was having to lead the family, had all these responsibilities. If something happened and went wrong, it was going to be blamed on me. And I had to figure
mhm.
out how to make things better, how to change and fix things. So I can only imagine, like, if you were told that you were going to be a leader, did that impact you in a positive or a negative way?
It impacted me in a positive way, I'll say. Now, at the time, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear be a leader, not a follower and stuff. I just felt like my stepdad was being hard on me, but I didn't realize that he was speaking life into me, that he was kind of pushing
Whoa.
me to where God wanted me to be. Just like any child, any teenager, any, kid that's in middle school or whatever, they don't want to hear what their parents have to say at the time,
True,
but they only
true.
want the best for you, and but you don't know that at that time and until you get a little bit older and you start thinking about what they said. And that was one of the things. He would always just tell me, you are a leader, not a follower. And it that always stuck with me. So it impacted me on a positive because now I see what he was talking about. Now I'm in a place where I'm moving into leadership, so I just,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. And as a loner, I bet that was kind of challenging because a lot of times when you are a loner or you are the kind of person that's kind of like always by yourself and you're trying to figure out like what's wrong with me, why I don't belong, you kind of don't want to be in the forefront and
Hmm.
have any like leadership skills. So I bet that was like two opposites coming together butting heads all the time, and that probably
Yeah.
was very frustrating.
Yes. And I mean, I say it impacted me in a positive way, and it did, but also it made me, want to be in the background. I didn't want to be up front, I was okay with somebody not even knowing my name, but I could help somebody in the background. I'll encourage them to get on that stage and do what they need to do or whatever. But I don't want to be up there, But
Wow.
yeah, I ended up having to be in the forefront, and it's difficult for me. It's still difficult for me today, but I just say you do it. Do what you got to do.
Yes, yes, true
Yeah.
that, true that. And it is different. I imagine it's very different for growing up and kind of being in the background and then having a life to begin to seek out your dad. You said that you went to go live with him. I mean, what was
Mhm.
that journey like? Did you initiate going to live with him, or what, how did that come about?
Yeah, so it was kind of a mutual thing, you know. I needed to have a place to stay, and I needed to finish going to school, you know, and
Oh,
graduate
okay.
and different things like that. And it was different because my dad, he likes to joke and laugh and play. So that's how I see where I get that from, right? And so he didn't really know how to be a father, you know. So
Um,
it was more so like a friend thing. So he was learning me, I was learning him. Sometimes we would butt heads because, you know, I wanted to know why you wasn't there for me,
yes.
like I feel like you should have been. And we had some hard conversations, but I thank God for those moments and those times that, you know, for those hard conversations because we're in a better place now. You know, I was able to get out how I felt. He was able to get out how he felt and also grow. You know, both of us was able to grow in that. So it
It's
was
good.
challenging, but it was a blessing as well.
I think that the leadership that your stepfather was telling you that you were kind of spilled over into the relationship that you needed some kind of leadership, because I could only imagine going to live with your dad was probably like, okay, you kind of had to stand on your own a little bit,
Hmm.
and you were already a little used to, taking care of the rest of the family, and
Hmm.
kind of being the oldest, having those kind of responsibilities. So it probably would have been a different type of dynamic if you had not been told that you were a leader and you had not taken the initiative to go back to school and finish out everything and then going to stay with your dad. You probably wouldn't even have that kind of a mindset.
Right. Right.
But I'm glad to hear, because I know there's so many of us that do not have, we didn't grow up with our dads, and we want to know who they are. We want to know their side of the family. We not want to know where we come from, what is our bloodline, what kind of person, what things, what traits do we get from them, what characteristics, like you said, he's
Hmm.
funny and stuff. So I can only imagine like what that was like. Can you tell us a little bit about, some of the things that you two were able to overcome?
Um, so I kind of used to, you know, wonder like how could, you know, because my dad is a loving guy. He'll give his shirt off his back, you know, and he would be there for other children, you know, and I kind of was
Wow.
like, how couldn't you be there for me, but you could be there for these other kids? And,
Mm.
you know, my dad was honest with me and he said, you know, well, I didn't know how to be a dad. I only knew how to be,
Oh,
you know, a friend. And he also was able to show me his life as well, like, you know, how he grew up, because that's one thing that we don't understand about our parents. Like they had a life that they had to go through. You know, there's things that they went through and had to endure, which shaped them into the people that they are today. You know what I mean? So
yes.
once I was able to look more at his past and how he grew up and see why he was the way that he was, it helped me to understand the man that he is, you know. And I was able to also look at him and say, okay, he's just a child too. You know, he's a child of somebody too.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
so it kind of helped me to break down those barriers, and but we were able to be honest with each other. And that's one thing about my dad. He'll let me, you know, talk and say how I feel and different things like that. Even if I was crying and stuff like that, he would still listen. And it
Oh,
showed me too, because I am that type of person too. I would just listen. Even when somebody's upset, I would let them get it out. And, you know, so we were able to just reconcile and I was able to forgive him. And even today, you know, we're closer than we've ever been, you know. So I
wow.
just thank God just for how things happen. Sometimes we look at things like we wish it didn't happen that way, but it reminds me of the scripture that says that all things work together for the good of those who love God and is called
Mhm.
according to his purpose and plan. So
Yes.
even if it looks rough, you know, God still worked it out for my good. It worked it out for his good too. And we're closer, we're better than, we ever have. So I don't even think about that time that we missed because it's about what's going on right now.
That's such a great principle to take away if you're watching today and you've had some issues with your dad. I've had some issues with my dad. I'm pretty sure there are millions of people, even billions, that have had issues with their parents or their guardian. And I'm just wanting you guys to understand, are you hearing Shyla? Are you hearing what she's saying about the fact we are all people and we all have a story. We all have a life where we were kids, we were teenagers, we grew into adults, and maybe we had a child at an early age or at a later age or whatever age. And we want everyone to walk away with understanding that we are just human beings and we all want love. That's the bottom
Mhm.
line. That's what it sounds
Right,
like to me because at the end of the day, when we look at love, the last stage of love is forgiveness, and then it starts
right,
right back over again with all of that restoration of feelings and experiences and being patient and kind and not being jealous and envious and not
right,
keeping a record of wrongs and being honest with each other. That's what love actually is. It's not just the feeling, it's actually
right.
being able to forgive and being able to build something that's beautiful because the word of God does say that love is the greatest thing of all. And I love that you shared that experience with your father. So tell us a little
Mhm.
bit about after high school, what you got into, what in the workforce, or did you get married? You had any kids? What happened after that?
So after I graduated, I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I said, I was laughing with one of my friends how, in school they ask you what you want to do. And I said, I wanted to be a dermatologist.
A
Well, I'm not a
dermatologist.
dermatologist. Yeah. I'm not a
What?
dermatologist.
I never heard a kid say they wanted to be a dermatologist. Lord,
I
where
said I
did you
wanted
get
to be
that
one.
from?
Yes, I said I wanted to be one, and of course that's not what I am.
Okay.
But I was just trying to find my way, and I said, I
Yeah.
want to go to hair school. So I went to
Okay.
Kenneth Schuler, but I didn't finish because I went through, the classroom and everything, but when I got on the floor, found out that's not what I wanted to do
Okay. Okay. All right. It's all right
because
to change your mind.
yes, I changed my mind because when I got on that floor, I was like, oh, I got to be on my feet. Oh, goodness. Oh, I got to be, and then, people are very particular about the hair and all of that because I
Yes.
know I am.
Yes.
And I just said, I just knew it was not for me. So I didn't finish doing hair school. And but then I got a job. I started working for it used to be managed treatment services, which is a part of like a part of DSS. So I
Okay.
was doing the administrative assistant work there. It was through a temp agency, and I had worked there for a while, and I kind of moved on. I got actually somebody had wanted to hire me at, and actually this is where I work at now at South Carolina Youth Advocate Program, which is a therapeutic foster care agency. So I was
Nice.
an administrative person there for a while, and then now I am doing recruitment for that agency now. So God has
Wow.
kind of moved me from place to place, and um I still, I went to I also took courses along the way, with KBBU.
Yes. Yes, you did. Yeah,
Yes,
so basically, I hear that you kind of started in the social services area,
yes,
arena, and then once you went into social services, It sounds like even starting from your story with your dad and that relationship and your stepfather, I'm going all the way back to your story
Uh-huh.
timeline, that you have always had a heart for people. So
Yes.
social advocacy in with youth is what you started out doing that led to where you are now, but you
Mm-hmm.
elevated to a higher promoted position. And
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit about the journey of being in this type of work.
Well, in this type of work, you see a lot of different things because it's with, children. And I just I've always had a heart for people, you know. It seemed like everywhere I would go, like people would just talk to me about everything and just like they wouldn't even know me, but they just start talking
Really?
to me. Yeah, just they would tell me their life story, or I'd have people that come to me for advice and all kind of things. And then just, working with the children, like I had a heart for children as well, just the things that they
Oh,
endure and everything. But my passion really was women. I began to see that over time, just the things that women deal with, because I'm a woman myself, and I thought
right.
about the things that I went through. And because I had a rough time growing up, I was molested. Um,
Goodness
I was
gracious.
abused. There was a lot of different things that happened in my life, and I think that um I don't know, it almost felt like the women saw it on me. I don't know. It's just I know
Wow.
it's a weird thing to say, but it's just, I think that those things that I went through, it's almost like, I don't know if this even makes sense. It's just, I felt like the women were being drawn to me. I felt like they
Absolutely,
were being
yes.
drawn to me by just different experiences, and I would also see it on them too. I remember this time I was working with a young lady, and the crazy thing is almost I saw like abuse on her forehead. It's
Oh my
like
God.
clear as day on her forehead. And I was like, my heart was pumping. And I felt in my spirit that I needed to ask her that. I was like, she don't think I'm crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I asked her, and sure enough, she had been abused. She was being abused.
What?
Yes. And um things like that would happen like throughout my life. Like, and people that,
Goodness.
yeah, like, and then I would find myself like even wanting to be around older people because I would get wisdom for them from them. They would teach me things. They would talk to me, and they wouldn't
Yes.
treat me like I was a little kid. They would just, or that young girl. They would talk to me like I was somebody, and that's what I liked
Oh,
about it. Yeah. So I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but just thinking about the things like just how God would bring me to people. People would come talking to me, telling me their life stories, and I would encourage them, or I would just smile, and they would say, "You have a beautiful smile. Your smile brought me to you," or whatever. It was always something like
oh.
that. So I think that's kind of what got me into, where I'm at right now.
Wow, wow, wow. Now there's a lot to pull apart from that. So
I know.
basically, yes, I love it though. This is good. This is really good. So you were saying that, you had some abuse, there was some molestation,
Mhm.
and I think that we
Yeah.
need to understand like our lives don't go the way that we think that they're going to go. Our lives are not necessarily, like you said, you wanted to be a dermatologist, which I've never heard a child say that. But the
Yeah.
point is that, we can say that we're going to be this person or that person. We're going to be a millionaire. I remember my oldest daughter, she was like, she's going to be this big time famous person in the world, and she's going to have a Porsche by the time she graduate from high school. And I'm like, okay, well, how did life really go? But that's the thing, is that we got to understand that sometimes things happen that are not so great in our life, but it's not that we need to hang on to those things and identify ourselves as those things like abuse or molestation.
Yeah.
We have to go back to our root of our identity and who we actually are, not defined by the things that happen to us or happen
Mhm.
for us. We got
Yeah.
to change the way that we think when it comes to our mindsets and know that that's not who we are. Just because something that wasn't so great happened in our life, it does not identify who we are permanently, and we can change our story no matter what. So it sounds like that you actually began to realize as you were going through these different positions at the different jobs that you realized, like, I really like people, I want to help people, but you catered more to women, and God was
Mhm.
showing you throughout the journey that this was your calling. This was something that you did with ease and you did with love. You did for
Mhm.
free, right?
Yes.
You
Yes.
did it for free. And
Yes.
that's a big indicator that that's a part of your calling. So then you came when did we meet? Was it 2023, 2022, twenty
It
twenty
was
two, twenty twenty
yes,
three?
it was in 2022. Mhm.
2022. Okay, so we met in 2022. So where were
Mhm.
you at the stage in your work experiences at that point as you were going through, realizing like, hey, I'm here to help people and I'm really catering to women and their experiences, and I can see this abuse on them because it's something that I went through. What led you to KBBU?
Okay. So in 2020, yeah, 2020, I was at a point in my life where, and I always have these moments sometimes where I'm like, okay, what am I doing?
Right.
Or where do I want to be at? What should I be doing? I sit with myself a lot. Okay, reflect, okay, where I want to be at or whatever. Because at that time I felt like I was getting comfortable, at the
Oh.
job I was at, I was still at Sky Up at the time. um I felt comfortable, but then I wanted to kind of grow and do other things as well. So I remember I ended up saying, okay, I'm just gonna go out and start my own thing. I just felt it really, like, it was just hard. It was like pulling me like,
Really?
you get out. Yes, yes. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I was like, "Whoo,
Oh,
Lord,
time
yes,
out.
ma'am."
You just put in your 2 weeks notice off of a feeling or a drawing to leave the job?
It was Now, I had thought about it for a little while. I thought about it for a little while, but this particular day when I turned in my resignation, I felt like a pulling, like, you need to get out there and you need to do your own thing. That's how I felt. So
Wow.
I quit my job. I,
Okay.
worked those 2 weeks or whatever. And I didn't know anything about starting a business, do anything. Now I was doing ministry already, didn't know that pretty much that's what it was, but that's what I was doing. That was just a part of me. And I had a group and everything. But I'm gonna go back a little bit. God gave me the name of my business in 2016. He
What?
gave me word, he gave me letters, GFD, and then he ended up giving me the name God Fearing Daughter. So fast forward,
Wow. I love
yeah,
it. Yes, God-fearing
yeah,
daughters. Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
So
So wait a
fast
minute. Let's
forward,
let's let's talk about the group. You said you cultivated a group. Was it a group of women
yes.
or okay?
hmm Yes, it's God Fearing Daughters is a women's group. Yes, it was, but it wasn't, what it is today. So it was just a group, where we would meet and I would do, you know, come on there and do encouragement or send, encouraging messages and different things like that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So what
So,
happened then? You decided
um,
to leave the job and
yeah,
then
I decided to leave. I started my business, but what I started doing is doing research because I didn't know anything about starting a business or anything. Didn't know how to set it up, nothing. So, I mean, I researched and I looked and I tried to do everything that I could to, get this business started. And I started the business back in November of 2020. I left my
okay.
job in August 2020 and started the
Whoa.
business in November of 2020.
Hmm.
And I used to work with, I had a person I used to work with, Jaquisha, and that's how we met. We met through Jaquisha.
Yes,
Yes,
that's right. Shout out to Quisha.
yeah. Shout
Hey.
out Jaquisha.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
So we met through Jaquisha, and you were at a stage where you were leading these women, going back to that leadership, and you
Mhm.
were inspiring them, encouraging them, and y'all were just talking about your lives, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Just
Yes, we
talking
were
about
talking
life.
about our lives. We were also talking about I always was the one that wanted to get to the root of the issue. So whatever, because
Oh,
a lot of times we deal with the surface things, the things that you can see, oh, our outfit, the way we look, the way we dress, our hair. But God was leading me to help women to dig a little deeper to see, why we show up the way that we do in the world, why we got attitude with other women on our job, why, just different things, help women to get to the root of the issue and problem, so we can become, our best selves, and to be free, and to be healed, because you got to get to the root of things, in
yes.
order to be better.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
interested like in this this journey of women because you're touching on some real serious stuff. I think that especially for our culture of women, African American women,
Yeah.
we can look at each other and just decide, I don't like her. I don't like
Yeah.
her. I don't want to be around her. I don't want to hear what it is that she has to say. And why are we doing that for real though?
Right.
Like
Right.
what comes up in our spirit that
Hmm.
was familiar in a different scenario, and that you don't know this person from a can of paint, and you decide that, hey, I just don't like them, and you don't want to
Right.
affiliate yourself with them. And it doesn't even have to be that you know anything about the person. It's just that
Hmm.
right off the bat you just decide that, hey, I don't like them, I'm not going to deal with them. And it could be
Yeah.
somebody that's in your life, that's brought to your life, that is
Hmm.
there to really bless your life. But because
Right.
of this surface information that we just pop off out of our mouth or in our minds, that, okay, well, we don't like a person and we don't know why, like, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, we
Right.
need to really, like you say, dig deep into
Yeah.
the reasons as to what is this coming from? Why would we
Right.
even consider that? So that's something that I want us to really think about too. If you're listening and this is something that has happened to you, I know it's happened to me because that's the way that I was brought up to think. Especially if I had a friend who didn't like somebody else, I wouldn't
Hmm.
like them either. And I
Yeah.
don't even know the person. Like, I never had any conversation with them. I don't know where they're from. I don't know nothing about their life. But just because one person doesn't like them, I would just say, okay, well, they ain't my friend if they ain't your friend. And we
Hmm.
tend to be loyal to things that we've never had any explanation for.
Right. Right.
Ooh, ooh,
Right.
this is good, Shala. This is
Yeah.
good. So I'm really interested. And if you're interested, we're going to give you the information on how you can connect with Shala Howell at the end of this video. So keep watching,
Yeah.
okay? Don't turn it off right now because we're getting to the nitty gritty. All right, Shala. So we met through Jaquisha. So you and
Yes.
Jaquisha were connected in your organization?
Yes. Well, through the agency that I work for, through Sky at the therapeutic foster care agency. Yes.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay, so she was helping out, you're helping out, and y'all collaborated. Tell us about your
Yeah.
experience with her.
Yeah, we became friends. I would, because I'm the person that I go around, I check on people. How you doing? You doing all
Right,
right? And then I
right.
could see when something was going on or whatever. And it's just like, she had a moment in time where she was dealing with some things, and I had moments in time where I was dealing with things. So I would see stuff when she was dealing with it, and she would see, it would be vice versa. So we kind of connected like that, and we just clicked. It seemed like it was instantly,
Wow.
we would encourage one another, and we had built a friendship and all of that. And just she was just telling me about, the things that she was doing or going to do, and it just went up from there.
Wow, wow. So y'all became friends,
Yeah.
and then she introduced you to me, or did you come
Yes.
to one of her events and you met me that way?
I'm trying to
Was it?
remember
I think it was
how.
an event that she had. Women Arise and Reign.
There we go. Yes,
Women
ma'am. Yes,
Arise and
ma'am.
Reign. Yes, she had an
Yes.
event. Yes, and that
Yes.
was one
It
of her
was
guest
a virtual
speakers.
event. That's right. That's right.
Yes, yes, and
Yes,
so we
and I got
connected.
inspired.
Awesome! I'm so glad. I'm so glad to be able to do her event, to be a speaker at her
Mhm.
event. That was an honor, and I really enjoyed that. Hadn't ever done a Women Arise and Reign event before because it was abbreviated for war. That's right.
Yes,
Yes, it
yes.
was a
You
big
got a great
abbreviated for
memory.
war. Yes, it's just all coming back. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's coming back. So anyway, we offered for our new school that we were having a new class coming up at Kingdom Builders Business University, and you decided to
Yes,
come on into that class. Tell us a little bit
yes.
about what your experience was like at KBBU, going through the undergraduate class.
Um, at first I didn't know what to expect, but I always would say I wanted to take a business course. This was the crazy thing about it, because well, I know I call it crazy, but it was divine, because
Yes.
I was saying, like, a while back, I said I wanted to take a business course, but never applied for it or anything, right? But then I happened to see you on her event. And when I got into the class, it was just, soon as you started, when you prayed, I knew, oh, this is where I need to be. This is
Wow.
where I need to be, because, I'm all about God. I'm all about prayer and all of that. And just, I felt in my spirit, this is the right place. And the experience was really good. I mean, you broke it down. Like, even the things that I had already done with business or whatever, you helped me to look at it in a different way. Like, okay, you need to structure this in a different way. Or, oh, you missed something. Let's go back to that. And you took it like step by step. And that's what I liked about it, because, like I told you, I did everything on my own. And
Right.
I did LegalZoom. I got LegalZoom to do a lot of the stuff as well. But you broke it down to me in a way that I understood it. And I mean, you just didn't tell me, you just helped me through it as well. Like, that's what I liked about it. Like, because when you go to school, or to a college or anything, you won't have somebody that's going to really be walking with you and willing to work on you with you one on one like you did.
Right.
And that
Right.
just stuck out to me, and I was excited about it, and it blessed me as well. And I always made sure I tried to tell you that too, because it happened at a point in my life where I really needed it, and I really needed to someone to break it down to me like the way that you did. So I was just grateful to be able to be a part of that.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing
Mm,
that. Oh man,
mhm,
it was such a pleasure to have you in the class. We
mhm.
were so excited that you were there, and we were like, we just connected, Shyla. We
Yeah,
just really
yeah,
connected on a whole different level altogether.
yeah.
So I just really appreciate you coming through that undergraduate class, sticking it out,
Mhm.
graduating, getting your certification from KBBU, and
Yes,
now
yes.
you also went through the VIP. The first time we offered the uh, VIP master's class,
It was
which
a
was an
master class.
elevation from the undergraduate. So
Yes,
tell us a little bit about how
yes.
different those courses were. So we got the undergraduate and we have the VIP. Was that a different experience for you in learning or in executing? What did you think about that class?
Um, I think that it was kind of a continuation. That's what it felt like. you
Ah,
know you
continuation.
gave us the basics and everything, where the foundation, you laid the foundation, right? And then when we got into master's class, it was like, okay, start building. That's what it felt like.
Right.
Start building. So that's what I like about it. And I mean, that's the simplest way I could say. It was the foundation class first, and then the building. Get out there, do it, start
Love it.
putting yourself out there and your business out there. So that's how it was for me.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life right now because when you came to KBBU initially, you were able to get your business all set up together. You know, you got
Mhm.
some funding tips and business credit ideas. We did the
Okay.
business and life management to show how you can balance out your life and your business
Yes,
all at one
yes.
time. And then you got some marketing, media, and sales in there. So after you
Hmm.
went to the VIP class and we talked about business communications, business money, work ethics, operations, and business influence, then what
Hmm.
shifted in your business after you took the courses?
I would say mainly my mindset shifted.
Ah,
Um, it gave me like the push that I needed, I feel, and also the tools to implement it. Like, so it's easy to just start a business, but what you gonna do with it? How you gonna put it out
ooh,
there? How you gonna get the word out there? Are you gonna come from out the back and get in the front and just put yourself out there? And that's what it made me do. It made me kind of push more and put myself out there more and start other things and kind of, I'll say, rebrand myself a little bit with the
that part.
business. Yeah. So and it made me kind of just think about where I was in business at that time and where I want to be. So it gave me a different outlook and it pushed me and it continues to push me because I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I continue to go on. I have the tools that I need to continue to go on. And also, I mean, you're always willing to help and, things like that.
Absolutely.
So, that has helped me. And then, I mean, I started doing other things too, as far as like I got merch. I didn't have that before. And I
Hey.
started another group called Dig Deep Sis, and that's more so of
Oh,
a, yeah, getting down to the root thing. Yeah.
congratulations.
Glory to God.
Love it.
Glory to God. And I also got certified as a women's ministry coach as well. So, to
Look
help me
at
with the different courses
you.
there. Yes,
There
because I
go
have some
them
courses
leadership
that I have.
skills.
Yes.
Yes, that leadership kicking in for real in full blown mode. I love it. I love it. Congratulations on your new business and your new coaching degree and all of those good things that are happening. Wow, that's amazing. So, listen, tell us a little bit about how people can get in touch with you if they are interested in connecting with you, because you are definitely inspiring women. I'm telling you, you are helping people out here in this world. You are definitely doing it. So, how can they get in touch with
Well,
you if they would like to connect or collaborate with you?
um, well, you can check out my website at www.godfearingdaughters with a s.com, or I'm on Facebook, God Fearing Daughters LLC, or Shay Love on Facebook as well. And you could connect, or God Fearing Daughters, which is also a group that I have as well. Or you can email me at Shayla Howell, which is SHAYLAHOWELL at godfearingdaughters.com.
Love it. Love it. Y'all hear that? Pause the recording so that you can go back and listen to the connection again. So make sure that you write that down and you connect with her. Now, Charlotte, is there anything that you would like to share about your businesses now or something that the women or anybody that is interested in getting some help for someone else that you would like for them to know about your organizations?
Sure. I mean, I always want to create a safe space for women. That is one of my goals. I want to have a safe space for women so you can share. And it's not about a griping session or anything like that. It's about growing and connecting with other women that maybe even dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. But we don't just talk, we also provide solutions. I have courses as well, and you can see that on the website. We have a course that's called 7 Weeks of Forgiveness. It's
7 weeks
important for
of
us to forgive.
forgiveness.
7 weeks of forgiveness. Yes.
Oh,
Yes, or a renewing your mindset course, and also I'm going to be doing a self-esteem course as well. So if you know of anybody that needs help in those areas, come on, send them over. Come on over to us. We are a sisterhood. We are a community that comes together. Now, for Dig Deep Sis, we meet on the second and the fourth Thursday of each month, and we have a different topic. The last topic that we had for the month was the effects of gossip. So it's different topics each week.
oh, I like
Yeah,
that. The effects
yeah,
of gossip. Come on now.
yeah, yes. Yeah, we talk about different things like who are you, different things like that. Things that's going to help pull the leg back to get down to the root of the issue.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Now, is there any last words that you would like to share with the billions of people that are watching? Anything about entrepreneurship, about life, anything that you want them to you want to just leave with them in their hearts right now?
Yes, I just want to encourage you all just to keep going, no matter what you face in your life, no matter what you're dealing with, even right now, because we all go through things. Just make sure that you continue just to have a connection with God. Just pray and just seek his face and just keep going. Distractions and trials and tribulations will come, but don't let it stop you. It's only a distraction to stop you from where you're going, and
Yes.
that the things that you're dealing with now and going through is not for you, it's for somebody else. A lot of times we just think it's about us, but it's not. It's about somebody else. So whatever you've gone through and dealt with, you will be able to help somebody else along the line. So I just encourage you to keep going, keep your head up, keep praying, keep doing what you're doing, and don't stop.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Well, there you have it. I told y'all this was going to be an amazing. Where are they now? Thank you so much, Shyla, for being here today. This has been a great story. I just pray that God blesses you and your businesses tremendously, that you will get a lot of feedback because I'm telling you, people are hurting out here and they want to have somebody to talk to. So if you are that person, listen. Even if you did not catch her information, contact kb.michellegreen and we will make sure that you are connected to Miss Shayla Howell. Thank you again for being here. Y'all, let's give her a round of
Thank you.
applause. That's right. Even though she
Thank
can't
you.
hear you,
Thank
it's
you.
okay. Yes. And if you like something that you heard today, make sure that you comment below. Let us know that you are subscribed. Let us know that you are connected and you like what you see here because we want to hear your feedback. Again, this KB Michelle Green, powered by the CTR Media Network. All right, thank you guys so much again for watching. We will see you next Tuesday at the same time in the same place on the KB Michelle Green YouTube TV channel, as well as we are powered by Apple TV, Droid TV, Amazon Fire, Roku TV, and we are on all streaming services, CTR Media Network, everywhere, kb.michellegreen. Make sure you are connected with us and set your notifications so you never miss another episode of KBBU. Where are they now? Until next time, y'all take care and have a